basically it just got to this point where we were like, no, we're not gonna take down things that are true. That's ridiculous. They wanted us to take down this meme of Leonardo DiCaprio looking at a TV talking about how 10 years from now or something, you're going to see an ad that says, okay, if you took a COVID vaccine, you're eligible for, for this kind of payment, like this sort of like class action lawsuit type meme. And they're like, no, you have to take that down. And we just said, no, we're not going to take down humor and satire. We're not going to take down things that are true. Biden, when he gave some statement at some point, I don't know if it was a press conference or to some journalists, where he basically was like, these guys are killing people.
What's your message to platforms like Facebook? They're killing people.
Then like all these different agencies and branches of government basically just like started investigating, coming after our company. It was brutal. It was brutal.
Come on, man.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and if you like, leave a like on the video if you think Mark Zuckerberg's sudden love for the First Amendment, sudden anti-censorship position. If you leave a like on the video if you think it's complete baloney sausage, if you believe it's a complete lie. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg saw the writing on the wall. That's what happened. He saw the writing on the wall and he decided, hey, suddenly I care about free speech. I don't want to get put in jail. So everyone brought him on their shows. Dana White joined the board of Facebook. He went on the Joe Rogan experience. All this crap to try and convince people that, well, I actually care about free speech. Well, not only does he not care about free speech, Joe Rogan got a lot of flack for having Mark Zuckerberg on his show. But I want to show you a little part of that show where he calls Mark Zuckerberg a liar to his face. And there is an extremely uncomfortable moment that happens right after that because they both understood what Joe Rogan was saying. Now, huge shout out to everyone who's helping me race to 100,000 subscribers on Quartercast on YouTube. I do a live show every day, 1 Eastern. Really, really hope you watch. Yes, I prefer you download the Rumble app and watch me on Rumble. Rumble is my real home. But if you're like, look, I just don't want to download another app, that's fine. Please subscribe to Quartercast. We're working real hard. It's me, Hannah Claire, Melanie Mack, Luke Rodkowski, Styx Hexenhammer, Gothics, and more every day, 1 Eastern. Give our show, I'm asking you to give our show a try. The link will be in the description. Please do subscribe over to on Quartercast. Tune in, watch our live show. I really, really think you're going to like it. Or download the Rumble app and watch that. Watch us there too. Mark Zuckerberg's own board co-chair blasts him over his mega makeover. Mark Zuckerberg's shock design to scrap fact-checking on Facebook and Instagram has sparked concern and outrage, including from inside the top ranks of the company. Mitch McConnell, co-chair of Meta's oversight board, Michael McConnell, I just read that as Mitch McConnell, Michael McConnell, said in an interview Friday that the move looks like buckling to political pressure. You mean like he did when the Democrats told him, hey, we're going to go ahead and need you to censor all these people? We're going to go ahead. Yeah, it would sure be a shame if these people sharing their own anecdotal information about, how they're sick or what got them sick. It sure would be a shame if they were banned. And then they immediately banned them. And then he goes on the Joe Rogan Experience and he pretends, well, man, the Democrats were just so mean to me. I didn't have any other choice but to censor these people. Now, maybe there is a 2% truth to that. It's possible. It's possible that there is some level of truth to that. I don't know. But I don't believe you. Instead of going on all these podcasts and saying, I've changed. You know what change looks like? You unban all those people that you banned. You remove any and all filters that you have on their accounts, any and all filters on new accounts. Then you wait 6 months, and then you come out and say, look at all these things that I've done to change. Look at all these things that prove I am now committed to free speech. because he didn't do that, I am 100% convinced that the only reason he's doing this is because he's afraid of Trump. And he sees the tide is turning. And it's just it's so obvious. It's so obvious. And people are like, based, I'm coming back to Facebook. Now, I will say most like people in, on the mega side on the right aren't really buying this. And you see, obviously, his audio, 400,000 likes. It's time to get back to our roots of free expression. We saw that conveniently released immediately before his interview with Joe Rogan. And by the way, free expression, are there even any comments on this? I guess I don't know, because this is an archive. Maybe there's comments on it. But your roots was Facebook or Instagram ever known as a free speech platform? Look, every platform, as a result of the monopoly that exists between Google and iPhone, every platform, I don't care what they say, if they're on the Google Play Store or the Android App Store, they have to have rules against hate speech. They have to have rules against, talks about race. They have to have rules. Whatever Google or Apple says are the rules, they have to follow them. Now, some platforms, let's say like YouTube, go above and beyond that and add all sorts of other, negative, modifiers and increased censorship. A site like Rumble, they have the bare minimum, but they still have some standards that they just, if they want to be on the App Store, they have to abide by. A site like Gab, which isn't on the App Store, sure, it's free speech, but it still has its own rules. It has its own rules about type of pictures that you can post on there and things like that. Now, I would say Gab is probably the freest speech possible right now, given the current internet infrastructure. But X, I think we're finding out it's not all that free speech. Go tell Elon that you don't like H-1Bs and see how it works for you. I think, again, Rumble still has to deal with, they're not banning people, but they still have, to take videos down from time to time and things like that because of the monopoly that exists. Now, although Zuckerberg's acknowledged that the new program would catch less bad stuff, he argued that we'll reduce the number of innocent people's posts and accounts that we accidentally take down. Mitch, meanwhile, appeared less convinced by Meta's new plan. I'm not, overly confident that this is going to be the solution. There's really no magic bullet to this problem. Well, I think I think what's really happening here, friends, is that he knows all independent media, which is producing, pushing out a lot of content a lot of the time, right? Independent media constantly putting out, look, I do 4 to 5 videos a day plus a 2-hour live stream. Tim Pool does 4 to 5 videos a day plus a live stream. None of us put our content on Facebook. The only people that do is Ben Shapiro from the Daily Wire, who had dinner with Mark Zuckerberg, but wants you to think, he's suffering the same ill fates as we are, right? I think Zuckerberg is absolutely afraid. He tells Rogan that the Biden administration would, quote, scream and curse at his employees demanding censorship. Zuckerberg joked that the consequences of the political establishment pushing for censorship is that they, quote, lost the election. Didn't you donate a ton of money to the Democrats in a state in which you didn't even live? He wrote, during the Biden administration, they were trying to roll out the jab program, the social media CEO said. While they were trying to push that program, they also tried to censor anyone basically arguing against it. And they pushed us super hard to take down things that were true. They basically pushed us and said, that anything that says the jabs might have side effects, you basically need to take down. And I was like, we're not going to do that. We're clearly not going to do that. I mean, this is kind of inarguably true. Who is they, Rogan said. Who is telling you to take things down that talk about side effects? It was people in the Biden administration, the Meta CEO said. The thing is, he could have told them to get bent. He could have said, sue me. This is a guy that built a portal specifically for law enforcement like the FBI to get into your accounts and get whatever they want about you. Probably read your private messages, all this kind of stuff. No warrant required. But the most important moment, you see Mark Zuckerberg lies about content moderation to Joe Rogan's face. I'll spare you the experience of listening to one of the richest men in the world whine and tell you that straight out. Mark Zuckerberg's interview on the Joe Rogan Experience is full of lies. Zuckerberg, CEO of Facebook's parent company Meta, sets the tone at the very beginning. I think at some level, you only start one of these companies and you believe you're giving people a voice. Unfortunately, I wasn't born yesterday, and I remember Zuckerberg's first attempt at getting rich, Face Mash, a clone of Hot or Not, where he uploaded photos of female students to be rated without their consent. Giving people a voice is one way of describing that. I suppose, personally, I'd call it creep stuff. Early on in the interview, Zuckerberg tests out the water to see how much pushback he's going to get. Rogan is a notoriously soft interviewer. It's like listening to your dumb stone friend hold a conversation, but he does occasionally challenge his guests. So Zuckerberg says that there are limits on the First Amendment, saying it's like you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. Fire in a crowded theater makes every lawyer I know foam at the mouth because it's flat out wrong. It's not the law. It's never been. And obviously you can yell fire in a crowded theater, especially if you know the theater's on fire. Rogan says nothing in response to this, and Zuckerberg knows he's got a willing mark. If you can get away with the small stuff, you can get away with the big stuff. For his part, Rogan serves up Zuckerberg a series of softballs. Again, Rogan has never claimed to be a hardball interviewer, and had he interviewed Kamala Harris and softballed her too, would The Verge be having a meltdown about it? No. The idea that the government, he set his own tone by referring to content moderation as censorship. The idea that the government was forcing Zuckerberg to censor news about the coup, the jab, Hunter's laptop, and the election is something of a running theme throughout the interview. When Zuckerberg isn't outright lying about this, he's quite vague. But in case you were wondering, a man who was formerly rebuked by the city of San Francisco for putting his name on a hospital while his platform spreads health misinformation thinks that on balance of the jab are more positive than negative. Phew. The thing is, the fact is Facebook implemented their own fact-checking program. They were censoring people from Jump Street. A lot of it never came from the government. There's people from the Biden administration will call our team and scream and say, you got to stuff, can't rip stuff down. Did you record any of these phone calls? Rogan asked. I don't know, Zuckerberg said. I don't think we were. Rogan then specifically asks who was pressuring Facebook, and Zuckerberg has zero answer. It was people in the Biden admin, he says. I think it was. I wasn't involved in the conversation. So he can't name any names. It was just this nebulous Biden admin because the waters are changing. And now at the end of this interview, watch their faces, because I think, Joe Rogan isn't a hard-hitting interviewer, but I think he can smell BS. And watch this exchange.
You have to actually be interested in what you're talking about. That's another thing that they are at a huge disadvantage of in mainstream media. Is like they're just doing that because that's their job. They probably don't even know a lot about climate change. They probably don't really understand too much about what SpaceX is trying to accomplish, but they're just reporting on it.
Here it comes.
I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of the people I've met there, I think, are good people.
I'm sure
it's just a tough format.
It's a terrible format. Yeah, and the problem is they get locked into that format and no one trusts them. And then they leave and they go, yeah, but you were just lying to us about this, that, and the other thing. And now I'm supposed to believe you're one of the good guys. You're one of the straight.
He's talking about Mark Zuckerberg here.
And no one trusts them. And then they leave
Watch
and they go, yeah, but you were just lying to us about this, that, and the other thing. And now I'm supposed to believe you're one of the good guys. You're one of the straight shooters now.
Yeah.
Look, he literally looks down. He looks directly. He finds Mark Zuckerberg's eyes. You can't see it here, but I know that's what he's doing because I've done it before. That's a look of somebody like, hey, look at me. I'm talking to you. He lowers his eyes line, finds Mark Zuckerberg's eyes, and then watch his face.
You have to actually be interested in what you're talking about.
I mean,
and
look.
now I'm supposed to believe you're one of the good guys. You're one of the straight shooters now.
Looking right at him. And then look at Mark's face.
Yeah.
Right there. He's like, shoot. He caught me. Yeah. So the look at Mark says it all. I'm his garbage bag and I'm just hoping to avoid prison. Yeah. This was, he absolutely saw through the BS that Zuckerberg was saying, and he did call him out at the end. Absolutely great. Shout out Joe Rogan. Please don't forget, give my show Quartercast a try, live every day at 1 Eastern. You don't have to watch it when it's live. If you're a YouTube-only viewer, I understand. Help me reach 100,000 subscribers on Quartercast. Really hoping that by my birthday, we can have 10,000 concurrent viewers. We're at like 7,000 now. And then if you're open to it and you want to support a freer speech platform, download the Rumble app and at least watch us live on the Rumble app. And if you haven't used the Rumble app in a while, try updating it because it's a lot better than you probably remember. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it. We'll talk to you again real soon.